Alright, today we are going to be looking at how to lace the Ike Brander Ike Kozane scales from Eldesarian Metalwarks. We're going to be looking at how to lace them around a shiki, which is this metal strip here. They don't have to be round, some can be flat. I actually have an example of one of those for one of the other videos I'll be doing. You can kind of see flat versus round. Now I have not trimmed these, their edges do go over the edge, but these are just sample pieces. Normally you'll want to trim them so that way right about here is where it will end. That way it also doesn't stick out the edge, poke you. You'll also want to make sure you round off the ends here so that way, you don't get jabbed when you're wearing it, doesn't rip your clothes, etc. Alright, so I've started this one here. We have our first mimizane here. I've started the lace through. Now you'll notice I have looped on the edge over here. Don't worry too much about that, since these are just sample pieces. I did not run the full gamut, didn't start it from behind, individual lace pieces, etc. Alright, the other big thing you'll want is something with which to clamp these down. Now I'm using a Cleco in this case. This is from a temporary rivet set, but you could use something like a locking C-clamp or anything else that will hold it in place to make sure your shiki doesn't shift or move. So the first thing, once we've got the mimizane on there, got this piece secured, we're going to slide this piece underneath. You'll always want that little kickback, the rounded edge there, under. That becomes very important later when you decide to go and lace for the kabiki lacing. Now, you have a couple of options here. You could have either run one shiki, two shiki. Two will give you a better form, will fit better, definitely hold more, make it harder to resist. Overall, though, up to you. I've also seen people who lace them one row, top row first, then bottom row first, top row. I personally prefer to lace them together. And in this case, I am using a flat braid from Rice Braids. It's a leftover from a previous armor project I had done. You could do this with, like, gutted paracord. Just about anything that's easy for you to work with. People have done it with deer lacing. Traditionally, you would have had some deer hide down here. I just want to kind of keep it nice and flat. Of course, you can see this one's kind of fighting me here. You're going to pull it through. Now, you're going to pull these tight. So I've got this one really tight. Pulled through here. You can see it's come out the back. Now, the patterning is important. So the top one's going to go at an angle on the front, straight down on the back, whereas the bottom is actually going to flip this. We're going to have straight down on the top, angled on the back. And I'll show both of those as I do it. Make sure our holes line up. Oop. Put that through the wrong side. Put this through, pull it. Nice and tight. Now you're going to notice it still looks like it's pretty straight. That's not that uncommon. It usually takes a couple of lacing passes, get another scale in front of it, before anything actually changes. I'm going to flip over here, thread my lace through here, and pull. Once again, since this is a flat braid, I am trying to keep it as untwisted and clean as I can. If you're using things like shoelace or gutted paracord, it's not going to play as big of a role because the tubular nature of it will make it kind of play differently. Okay, pulled it tight. I'll pull this one tight again. Get us through and pull. Nice and tight. You notice not a whole lot of wiggle here, and this one has a little, but not much. And then we repeat. And we're going to do this several times till your desired length. In this particular case, I'm only doing 9 standard kozane and then the mimizane on each side. This one's giving me a little more problems because the Umizane is a lot smaller, a lot harder to get a grip on. It slides a bit more, and the end of my lace is fraying. Alrighty, I'm going to get this last one through, and then we're going to tie off. Now, for those of you using things like gutted paracord, you actually kind of have an advantage with this. While I would normally show it with this lace is giving me some problems on the melting end, but you can make what are called lace staples, or lace rivets, where you can actually melt down the end, make sure it's a little wider than the hole, and melt it down pretty much right onto the kozane, and it'll keep it from pulling out. But for our purposes, we now have an arced lame of kozane, ready to be laced in kabiki. I'll go ahead and tie these off, and it'll probably be used for a later video. There we go.